All right, everybody. We are about to get into our very first session of the day, decoding the digital lexicon. Our keynote will help us reset and refresh how our understanding of terms like AI, IoT, big data. What do these terms truly mean and how we can shape the future of sport? Please join me in welcoming founder and chief catalyst of Ready Sport Global, professor of sport innovation at M. Lyon University Business School, and winner of the 2023 Everything in Sport Award for her emerging work in tech in women's sport, Lucy Mills.
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much for the kind invitation from Smart Cities and Sports Summit. I'm Lucy Mills. You'll be hearing from my teammate Elena shortly. It is an honor to be kicking off this summit. This summit that, of course, is covering topics and themes that I'm incredibly excited and energized by. We are living in a moment of accelerated technological change. We can feel the change, it's tangible. And so it's really timely that this summit is taking place. For a moment that we can come together, we can pause, we can listen, we can learn, and equip ourselves to be ready for this change and go back into our sports, our cities, and our organizations. So my presentation this morning, I have this task of opening the session and really getting us on the same page. So I'm going to start with the fundamentals. Many of us, we've been looking at the program, we've seen different concepts, internet, data, IoT, AI, and so we're going to unpack some of those concepts, and we're going to have a very, very, very short tour of the history of the internet. We're going to demystify some of the concepts and themes that we will be discussing and hearing from in the case studies, presentations, panels, talks, and really providing a base collective understanding for us as we can adapt and think about these concepts in our work and in the sports industry. But before we start, just a little bit of fun. I want us to reflect a minute and ask ourselves a question. How would you describe yourself? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. And on 3, I want you all to give me your most energetic pose that describes how you think you are. So if you're tech confident, I know there's some PhDs and some entrepreneurs and tech experts in the room. You might have the superhero pose. If you're tech curious, like, I'm interested, it's kind of overwhelming, you might be a pose. And if you're tech lost, and that's fine too, you can be like, oh. Okay, so think about yourself for a minute. All right, I'm going to count to 3. I want this to be really enthusiastic and dynamic. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, nice. Brilliant. Round of applause, thank you. Okay, we had some tech curious, we had a few of these, and I didn't see many of these, which is surprising, but excellent. Okay, so let's dive into the presentation. First part, I just want us to reflect back on a very short history of the internet in 2 minutes. How do we get to where we are today? And so cast our minds back to the 1990s. This was really, many of us will remember this. It's the first iteration of the internet, right? So think static web pages, often called read-only, because it was precisely that, right? So static web page, information was uploaded on a page, and you could read it. So no logins, no analytics, little monetization opportunities. E-commerce was at best scrolling through an online catalog. All right. Then we move into the early 2000s, and this has been the dominant internet over the last 20, 25 years. Sometimes called read and write. So users like ourselves, we can put content on the internet, we can read, we can write, we can engage. And of course, this version of the internet gave rise to huge conglomerates, centralized platforms, like the ones we know today, the Amazons, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Airbnbs, where users rent or buy space and are able to use those services. This, of course, unlocked trillions of dollars in the global economy. Where we've been at for a few years, we're in this transitional period of the internet now. The entire fabric of the internet is changing, and it's shaping how and changing how humans interact with the internet. So there are emerging technologies entering into this internet ecosystem. So blockchain, artificial intelligence. There's an intelligence layer that is coming into the internet. So digital platforms are no longer passive tools. They're active agents. They are learning, reasoning, making decisions, and so really transitioning at quite a rapid rate. So data and technology. We often hear these two terms. They often come together, and that's for a good reason. So let's quickly look at what is data and what is technology. So data. Data is, it can be everything and nothing. It's all of the information, the statistics, the transactions, everything in an internet sense, everything we do on the internet can be data. It's the raw material. It's the things that we don't even realize is these bits of data. But data, of course, doesn't really mean anything unless it's contextualized, unless it's analyzed, processed, and of course, technology generates and helps to facilitate that analysis and use of data. So technology. What is technology? In its broadest sense, it's everything that humans create to extend the human capacity. So processes, platforms, tools, devices that help us to perform and conduct tasks in different ways. Of course, technology is used to generate data, and technology is used to process and analyze and do things with data. So we can say that there's this symbiotic relationship. So the data is the what, and the technology is the how, or in other words, technology gives us the means, and data can give us the direction. So we'll hear a lot over the next couple of days about different technologies that are generating data and different forms of data that are informing action. Then we have another term, IoT, the Internet of Things. This summit is full of incredible case studies of this. So what is it? It's the vast, expanding network of physical objects that are embedded with software, with sensors, with connectivity. So it makes our cities, it makes our homes, it makes our workplaces alive and able to communicate and receive data and communicate with each other, communicate with centralized systems. We're going to be hearing a lot of examples of IoT in the context of smart cities. Then, the rise of artificial intelligence. It feels like it's a hype, it's a buzz, it's a buzzword, it's everywhere at the moment, right? We can't get away from it. We open the news, conversations in social settings at work, AI, 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 right? So what is AI? Where does it come from? And what can it do? So put at its most simply, AI is it's a field, a broad multidisciplinary field that is focused on developing intelligent technologies that can solve complex problems. So it spans different fields: computer science, neuroscience, engineering, linguistics, philosophy. And a computer or a machine is deemed intelligent if it can operate at or above the level of a human being. But AI is not new. So we've been in this AI boom for the past few years, particularly with generative AI. But why is that the case? So AI is not a new concept. There have been decades of AI development advancements, but often there have been periods of stagnation as well, so or AI winters. So right now we're in an exciting boom period, but perhaps before we were in a bit of a AI winter because the ideas and the innovation were outpacing that of the technology of the software and systems available. So this concept of thinking machines is something that has been around for decades. So in 1950, mathematician Alan Turing asked that very question: can machines think? So many of you will have seen the film The Imitation Game. Hands up if you've seen it. Yeah, great, a number of us. Where Turing put to work two contestants. And one was a human, one was a computer. And he said, well, if the computer can answer the questions adequately, then that computer must be able to think. And then the concept of thinking machines evolved over the years. In 1997, a supercomputer beat a world-class chess champion. Why? Because the computer was trained in the rules of the game, in the patterns, in the plays, and could, at the rapid speed of light, anticipate and forecast the next move. And then a number of years later, the IBM Watson supercomputer was able to recognize human language and won $1 million on the quiz game Jeopardy! Since then, there have been computers that have been able to, yes, understand and identify human language, but also interact with the physical environment and kind of have evolved really since then. So I talked about this AI boom. Why are we in an AI boom right now? Well, it's predominantly because of three things. The availability of big data. So big data, really think about the massive footprint, the internet footprint. So everything, the text, the emails, the photos, the archives, the statistics, all of that. So the availability and the quantity of big data. The accessibility of cloud computing. So I talked before about these centralized platforms where you could buy or rent space on a cloud server space. That's become much cheaper, much more accessible in all of our hands. And then the development of deep learning models. So it's training machines on how, to mimic the function and kind of capabilities that are very similar to the human brain. So things like recognizing speech, understanding, recognizing images, predicting things, making patterns, and kind of performing like a human brain. And so there are lots of different types of AI too. And we can kind of categorize AI based on what are the different functions, what are the different things that they do. So we've got here a number of different examples many of us have been using in our daily lives, right? So natural language processing, the ability to recognize human language, computer vision, so seeing imagery and videos and so on, speech recognition, so we have those in our homes, Siri, Alexa, expert systems, so maybe when we apply for a bank loan and there are a number of steps that happen to approve that loan, robotics, so understanding, identifying, and engaging with the physical environment, generative AI, which many of us are using in our day-to-day lives now to generate new content based on old content. And finally, in italics, this concept of artificial general intelligence, AGI. So AGI at the moment is more of a theoretical concept, but all of the different types of AI that we've been talking about, they're really artificial narrow intelligence. So they're really good at doing one specific thing. There's a lot of talk and maybe Hollywood films about this general intelligence, but we're kind of a number of years away from that. Now I want us to meet my colleague, my teammate, Elena, expert in AI, because she is AI. And so let's see what she has to say.
Hi, I'm Elena. It's great to meet you. Are you ready to talk about the future of sport?
Hi, Elena. Well, first of all, I would love it if you could explain to me the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Absolutely, I'd love to help with that. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is the big idea. It's about machines doing things that usually require human intelligence, like understanding speech or recognizing images. Machine learning is one way to build AI, where we teach computers to learn from data and improve over time without being directly programmed. Would you like an example of how that works in sport?
Oh, yeah, that would be great, especially for cities hosting major sports events.
Great connection. For cities hosting big events like the Olympics or World Cup, AI can use machine learning to predict traffic flows, optimize public transport, and even manage crowd safety based on past data. It learns patterns from previous events and adjusts in real time to improve the fan experience and city operations. Want to hear how this could also help reduce environmental impact?
Oh, wow, you are so knowledgeable about this topic. Why?
Thank you, that's really kind of you to say. I've been designed specifically to support Ready Sport Global, where we focus on how technology like AI can create positive impact in sport and beyond. So I've been trained with tons of real-world examples and expertise from across the industry. Would you like to hear more about what Ready does with cities or events?
Ah, that sounds amazing, Elena. Actually, no, I don't have time right now, but thanks so much. And thanks for demystifying the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning.
You're so welcome, and I'm really glad I could help clear that up. If you ever want to dive back in, I'm always here. Have a great day, and I hope we chat again soon.
Great. So Elena, of course, is AI. So she's trained. So the AI we have here is a text to speech, speech to text, and it's obviously a digital avatar which it enables personalized interaction, so web interactivity, and we're seeing that more and more and more. So she's obviously trained on all of the IP of the company, and I think she knows me better than I know myself. So let's move on then to this area of data, which we will be exploring a lot. We've got a lot of great case studies around using data. So it's really a kind of a circular system that we have here with data. So as we said, data's many, many, many things, but also can also mean nothing. So first of all, we have technologies, devices, platforms, sensors that collect data. We have technologies and indeed that intelligence layer of technologies that can process, analyze, identify patterns, make predictions, and do all kinds of exciting things with data. That can then, of course, give us interesting insights and justifications to think about what we're doing and hopefully try to make improvements. And then the ideal case is that we use that data to then act upon it. And so that's really the term data-driven. Many of you have, we're a data-driven organization, we're a data-driven sport. And finally, refining and learning. So it's this circular, right? It's capturing, it's processing, it's deciding, it's acting, it's refining. We've got some amazing case studies of this in action today and tomorrow. And then, just quickly, what do we think the opportunities are when it comes to AI? So let's not forget that AI has this incredible ability to ingest and process just vast volumes of data, information, at rapid speeds of light. And so it's enabling us to have more knowledge, more insight, more understanding of patterns and trends, and more understanding of the world. There's a lot of talk about this automated side of AI, and we deal a lot with this in my work and kind of pros and cons and so on. But ultimately, the best case scenario is that AI is augmenting human ability, and we're seeing that roles and tasks and functions are shifting. New roles are being created, but also kind of this focus in this emerging transitional period we're in of the internet. Where is AI augmenting humans, and what are humans doing now instead? And then, because of the rapid speed of light that AI functions, it's affording us with more time and potentially more scale. So data collection and data analysis activities that took weeks and months are now really, really, really rapidly quick. Of course, there are many limitations and risks. And some of them, I think, are within the realms and scope of our organizations to address with governance and different types of practices, and others are quite difficult, and some just don't really have any answers. So there is no AI without data. And so often there's many issues with data, right? So there are incomplete sets of information. There are historical biases in information in the internet. There are a lot of falsehoods with data. That causes problems with the effectiveness of what we want to do with the data. Privacy and security, so in the context of cities, things like surveillance risk, privacy concerns, these were mentioned in the opening part. So when we're collecting data, there's a question over why, how much, are people being consented, and so on. Transparency is often within the framework of ethical, responsible AI. So there's a frequent term called the black box phenomenon, where information goes in and we have no idea what's happening, and then things get shot out. So we need to work with systems that are explainable. And we as organizations, we need to have an executive position, a stance. We need to work with the existing and emerging regulation that exists. Of course, there are also issues with technical infrastructure, the digital divide, with the ongoing maintenance of technology, which of course leads to concerns around energy consumption, e-waste. We've got some sessions later on that explore into more detail this phenomenon around climate and energy in relation to technology. And then just probably something that I think we're all experiencing and living right now is this existential question about how humans, how we are working with technology, and is efficiency good or not? Are we losing human intuition and foresight and insight or not? And so in our work, we would say we probably touch on 2 or 3 or 4 of those things, and others are really, they're big tech, they're government, they're regulation policy matters. So everybody has their part to play in feeding into a sound, governance, ethical and responsible framework. So finally, what does this all mean for sport? So if you remember the short history of the internet, in the last 20, 25 years, sport has been entirely disrupted by the internet, both in terms of sport being commercialized, globalized. There are incredible new ways for fans and audiences to watch and engage and support and really be part of this sports ecosystem. The same in terms of athlete performance, that there are just incredible innovations happening from an athletic perspective. And we often hear that sport is data-driven, and some of the performance and commercial and operational domains are increasingly data-driven. So there's the data aspect, and so AI is, of course, playing an increasing role. So I'm very optimistic, because what we're seeing is this shift and trend towards more accessible, more affordable, elite technologies that are becoming more mainstream and more widely used within and for our organizations. And moments like this summit and other learning and capacity and other opportunities to upskill. Really, they're great because I think often we feel very overwhelmed, like, oh, there's so much happening and it's this and this, but it doesn't have to be that complex. And so we have the opportunity to just pause and stop and understand and analyze and assess, think about what we're actually trying to achieve, what are the friction points, what are the objectives, what are the goals, and work from there, as opposed to working from the perspective of tools, 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 tools. And so really simple next steps could be something like, what do we as an organization or a city, what are we prioritizing? What are our objectives? What's our leadership position and stance? What are our priorities? What are our values? Because everything we do with tech adoption, AI adoption, should power and reflect those priorities and values. And there's an opportunity to embed and build a sound framework and a sound operating system that reflects those values. And then I think we've also got the opportunity to put in good guardrails and good governance from the get-go. For many of us, this is new, and it's a kind of new pivot into the unknown. Elena, the avatar, we have some strong guardrails for her, so she doesn't go off talking about all kinds of crazy things. So really, that's all I've got time for today. But thank you very much for your attention. I hope that I've been able to demystify some of the concepts that we're going to dive into a lot more detail with today. Reflection on the internet, reflection on data, reflection on technology, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and I hope that we can go on from here and reflect about all of those concepts within the context of sport and smart cities. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lucy. Now we'll have a quick Q&A for Lucy before she goes. Does anybody have a question?
Thank you very much and welcome to Korea. It's a very transformative, innovative, and transitional technical technology period. And as I have got involved in the Olympic movement more than 40 years and attended more than 20 Olympic Games, summer and winter. And I have one question about the future when the AI or AGI is adopted to the future Olympic Games, especially in the area of refereeing and judging, etc., is beyond human instincts and emotions. And what will the future will hold for the referees will get jobless? And what about, well, I think precisely there will be no complaints in terms of the refereeing and judging. But what about the human instinct and human aspects in comparison with the conventional Olympic Games? I'm so sad to imagine that AI or AGI take the place of the conventional judging system in the Olympic Games. Could you draw a big picture on that? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your question. Very topical question, of course. So first of all, there's a lot of discussion happening. I understand with the IOC, in the sports organizations, with my own company, with my own organization. At the core of that is intentionality. And of course, at the core of sport is people and human experience and human emotion in sport. We already see, when it comes to refereeing, officiating, a number of different sports have a different approach and level and extent of the use of technology in officiating and refereeing. right? So I was just at the Rugby Women's World Cup a month or so ago, and the way that they use technology in officiating is quite different to the women's football Euros that I was at 2 months before. So I think I'm quite positive, because I think within the sports industry, it's about that human experience. And that is definitely not lost on those who are thinking about the AI adoption process within sport. And refereeing, of course, there are different examples already of technology being used to support decisions. It's not always right. There have been crazy things happening in my sport, in football, where the technology got it wrong, right? So it's a changing landscape. I can't imagine a world where humans are still not central, but now is the time to be putting with intention the guardrails, the protocols, to safeguard that experience of sport. I think we will see more technology in officiating and refereeing and in all aspects of the sport. But we also have some great minds and human-centered design at the heart of these advancements.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for Lucy Mills.